Assalamualaikum 5 class, how are you? I hope you all are fine and your studies are going good. So this is your book, New Oxford Modern English. Open your book and come on the page number 128. Chapter number 12, The King Keeps His Appointment. Appointment is responsibility. So it's a story by the name, as you can judge that it's a story about a prince, about a king, and about his appointment, about his responsibilities. So here these are the difficult words which we can find in our text. Coronation, the ceremony in which a ruler is crowned. Hot in spirit, angry. Impostor, a person who pretends to be someone else in order to trick others. Languid, weak or faint from illness or tiredness. Rouse, to wake someone up. Schemer, a person who is involved in making secret or devious plans. Smell a rat, to suspect trickery or deception. Sneering, smiling, laughing, or making a facial expression that shows feelings of dislike and superiority. Tut, a sound made in speech, often to express disapproval. So these are the difficult words. So this is a story about a boy, idle boy, Rudolph Rosendal, and who was look-alike of the prince of the country where he moved, where he had gone once, and that prince was about to be crowned as king of that country, and they both became friends. But at the day of the coronation, the prince had been poisoned by his wicked brother because he wanted to get the kingdom. So let's start our text. Now, I was in a deep sleep. Here, the Rudolph Rosendal, the hero of the story, is saying that he was sleeping deeply. Suddenly, I awoke with a start and a shiver. Suddenly, he woke up. He woke up with a shiver and start. When he woke up, he was shivering with the cold. My face, hair, and clothes dripped water. The water was dripping down from his head and clothes. Opposite me stood Sept. Sept is a colonel of that prince. Was the colonel of that prince. Sept is the name of the colonel of that prince who was going to be king of that kingdom. He was standing opposite of Rudolph Rosendal, and he was smiling on his. He had sneering smile on his face. By sneering smile on his face, he was clearly depicted that he was unhappy. And an empty bucket in his hand, and he had an empty bucket of water in his hand because he dropped all the water on the Rudolph. Fritz is also an army man of the prince, and he was pale with dark bags under his eyes, and he had dark bags under his eyes. He had puffy eyes. I leapt to my feet in anger because he was awakened by Sept and the Fritz, and he was totally wet. So in anger, Rudolph jumped on his feet. I leapt to my feet in anger. In anger, he jumped on his feet and stood up. Your joke goes too far, sir, I cried, and he was thinking that they were joking. They were making fun of him, but that man, there's no time to argue. Now they made a sound to keep him quiet and said, there is no time to argue. Nothing else will rouse you if we will not drop water on you, you could not rise. You could not be awakened. It's 5 o'clock. But Colonel Sept, I began again, hot in spirit. Now the Rodolphe didn't know anything, and he was talking in anger with both of them. But through my body was thou my body was cold from the water. He was very angry. He was very hot that time. Thou he was wet and he was cold that time. But he was talking to them very angrily because he didn't know what had happened. Rodolphe interrupted Fritz. While the Rodolphe was talking, Fritz interrupted him and said, getting down from the table and taking my arm, "Look here." He put forward him by his pulling his arm, and he asked him to look. The king lay on the floor. The king, the person, the boy, who was about to be king of that country, was lying on the floor. His face was red and he breathed heavily. He was hardly breathing that time. Sept disrespectfully kicked him sharply. Sept respectfully, in very bad manner, he kicked him to make him awaken, but he did not move. There wasn't even any break in his breathing. He was continuously snoring or breathing that time. I saw that his face and head were wet with water, as were mine. Now the Rodolphe noticed that he was also wet like him. "We have spent half an hour trying to wake him," said Fritz. Now Fritz told him that we had spent half an hour trying to wake him up, but he did not. I knelt down and felt his pulse. Now the Rodolphe sat on his knees and tried to feel his pulse. It was alarming languid. It was a very alarming situation that his pulse was slow. We looked at one another. Now they looked at each other. Now they were conversating about Black Michael. Black Michael is the wicked brother of that prince who was going to be the king of that country. Now they were confirming from each other that, "Do you think Black Michael's servants gave us sleeping tablets?" I whispered. Now the Rodolphe was the friend of that king, that prince, so he was asking, "I think the Black Michael's servants gave them sleeping pills." "I don't know," said Sept. Sept said, "I don't know, but I suspect so, but I can think about it. We must get a doctor." Now they decided to get a doctor, but Rodolphe told them that there's none within 10 miles. You could not find doctor within 10 miles. And now he told them that, "I know from how he looks that he will be asleep for most of the day." Now he informed that by the sleeping pills he could sleep only for a day or most of the hours in the day. So there's no any need to call the doctor. "But the carnation," I cried in horror. Now Rodolphe cried in horror that, "But the coronation." Fritz shrugged his shoulders and looked glum. Now Fritz shrugged his shoulders and gave him a look as dumb and as he didn't know what to do. "Then we must send word that he is ill," he said. Now the Fritz said, "We must send the word to the coronation that he is ill and he could not come to the coronation." Coronation is the ceremony where he is going to be crowned. "I suppose so," said I. Now Rodolphe also agreed with the Fritz. The Sept is the older one in between of them. lit his pipe. He had pipe in his hand, he was puffing hard at it. As you can see in this picture, he had a pipe in his hand. He was puffing at that pipe, and he was older among of these. If he is not crowned today, then he told them his perception that if he is not crowned today, I will guarantee he has never crowned. He said that if he is not going to be crowned today, he will never get that crown again. Why not? Now they were asking in surprise, why not? The whole nation's there to see our coronation, so Black Michael will be ready to step in. So the the sept told them that the whole nation was there, and they were waiting for the coronation. They were waiting for the prince to be the king, as Black Michael was not a good person, and they did not want to be the Black Michael, the king of that country. But if they could not find that prince in the coronation, then the Black Michael will get the crown. We can't send word to say that the king's asleep. So he told them that we could not send this word to the nation that the king was sleeping, because it's a very non-serious behavior, as they didn't know what happened to the king. So we could say that he is ill, said I in correction. So in Rudolph corrected him that we could not say that he was sleeping. Yeah, he is sleeping. We could say that he is ill and he could not come to the coronation. Ill, echoed Sept. Now Sept repeated the word ill with very surprisingly, with a scornful laugh, and while he was saying ill word, he was scornfully laughing that time. Well, what else can we do? Said Fritz helplessly. Now Fritz said, so rather than this, what we could do now? Tell me, said Sept, do you think the king was poisoned? Now the Sept was asking them, do you people think that the king was poisoned by his brother? I do, said I. So the Rodolph said, yes, it is. And who arranged it? And now the Sept is asking him, who arranged that poison? That evil schemer, Black Michael, said Fritz between his teeth. Now the Fritz was grinding his teeth, and he said that it was all schemed by Black Michael, the bad person, the bad brother of his. Said Sept, so that he can take the crown. Rodolph here doesn't know our Michael. Fritz and I know that Michael will be ready to step in and take the crown. Here the Sept was telling them that so the Black Michael could take the crown then. And he also admitted that Rodolph did not know Michael, but Fritz and he know that Michael will be ready to step in and take the crown. So we could carry him there, said I. Now Rodolph said we could carry him there, that he suggested to crown the prince there. What for? He is sleep, sneered Sept. Now the Sept was also sneering at that moment, and he said, for what for? He has sleep. That for that purpose we should crown him. Fritz buried his face in his hands. The king breathed loudly and heavily. Sept stirred him again with his foot. Now they were kicking him with foot. Now by listening this, by imagining that the Michael was wearing the crown, Fritz buried his face in his hands, and the king was snoring heavily, and the Sept again kicked him. He's not perfect, he said. Now Sept said He is not perfect for the kingdom, but he is the rightful heir, and I made a promise to his father. I will never forgive myself if I allow Black Michael to sit in his place. So here, why the sept was there? Because he had promised his father that that Black Michael would not get the crown after him. So that's why he was there. He was trying to make the prince conscious, because he did not want to he did not want that Michael could get the crown. So this is all for today. Read the text thoroughly. If you feel any kind of difficulty, ask me.